Yes, CR here, taking a slight step away from gaming today. I'm going to do a bit of an upgrade on my Alienware X51. It's easy enough to upgrade the RAM and add a solid state hard drive to the X51, but I'm going to take it a step further, strip the PC out, reseat it into a new case so that I can upgrade the graphics card. The X51 by default can support up to an NVIDIA GTX 670, but even then you have to slightly mod it to fit it in the case, and you have to provide additional power. So I'm going to reset the X51 into a new case with more room so that I can upgrade to a GTX 770, and I'll be adding a bigger power supply to it as well. Taking the case off is easy, as you just saw, slides straight off pretty much. There's one screw on the rear. Just be careful not to yank off the cable for the lighting, which is attached to the sides. As you can see already, the case is very compact, everything is very squished together. There's not much room for upgrades really, even though the case is very modular. So there are two screws on the graphics card, as well as a push clip. Just pop out those screws and then hold the clip, and you should be able to pull the graphics card straight out. The graphics card is actually attached to like a PCIe bridge that slots directly into the motherboard. That's how it's on its side rather than sticking out. If I just pop these power cords out, see this card uses two 6-pins, I think it is. Very small card as well by default. This is the GTX 555, although they do come with bigger cards now. So you can replace the card, a smaller card, by just putting it on this bridge. It's one simple screw here and then two white clips. And flip the gate at the top. The card should just come straight out. There we go, here's the little white clip. Flip the gate, pull the card out. So as long as your card can fit on that bridge, you can use it in the X51. Now here's the card I'm upgrading to today, the GTX 770 from Gigabyte. This is a monster of a card. I'll have a more detailed review up on godisgeek.com shortly, but let's take a look at it anyway. All the cables and drivers you may need. Look at that beast. So another problem you might face is the power cords coming from the X51 are both 6-pin, and a lot of graphics cards use a 6-pin and an 8-pin connector now. That's something to consider when purchasing your graphics card. I think the default power supply is 300 watts for the Alienware X51. So you're going to have to check the power consumption of your graphics card. If it needs more than that, which this one does, then you're going to need an external or a replacement power supply unit. Just to demonstrate though, there's no way that this card could fit in this case, it's far too big. So I'll leave that out for now, come back to that later. I'm going to start by removing the optical drive to get access to the motherboard below. One quick screw really, and it's just easy removal. The X51 really is quite modular for a small form factor PC. If we unscrew the hard drive from the case, one quick screw and it should pull straight out of the satyr power connector. Be mindful of that when you're pulling it out. The satyr and power connectors are joined together into a single cable for the X51. That applies to both the optical drive and the internal hard drive. Okay, so here's the power adapter leading up from the back of the case to the motherboard. We'll disconnect that before we move any further. You can see I've used a power lead splitter to fit the solid state hard drive because there was only enough power in there for the optical drive and the internal hard drive to start with. So I'll just disconnect all of these. You can just about make out there are 3 boards in there. There's the motherboard that I'm touching now, and then next to it is the power board, and then the third board on the right is all the external USB drives and audio drives and that kind of thing. So once I've got all the cables disconnected and out of the way, I'm going to take off the CPU fan to get a better look at the motherboard. There is a big kind of encasement over the fan. Get rid of that first, and then we can see what's going on underneath. There we go, it's a fairly small fan actually. Okay, so I'm now making note of what goes where and disconnecting all the leads from the motherboard. There's the audio cable, the front USB cable. That's those two. And then the white one next to it is the power switch and reset button cable. I'll take that out as well. And disconnect the fans. So this large one here is where the internal power supply board connects to the motherboard. What I couldn't see at the time is that there's an actual clip to take it off, but it's in between the 2 sets of wires, so it's hard to come to. I'll come back to it later though. For now, let's just unscrew the motherboard. Okay, now the motherboard should slide away from the rear of the case. It can be a little fiddly around the back of the case where the metal netting is encasing the USB drives and stuff. There we go. Little micro ATX board right there. Now it should be a little easier to get at the power cord, the awkward power cord. We've also got a couple of antennas attached here for the wireless. They should just pop off like magnets. Okay, with the power cord finally disconnected, we can remove the motherboard. Ta-da! So now all that's left in the case is the power board and a load of wires. Let's get to the new power supply. I needed something powerful enough to run the X51 with the new graphics card, but also something quiet as possible really. For that reason I went with Fractal Design's Newton R3. It's a 600 watt power supply unit. It's not one of the most powerful ones they have, but it's still a very quiet one. A little bit of an unboxing here for you. Okay, we have a manual here and a little thank you note. Here we go. The power supply unit is in a nice little protective bag. The big fan. It's a modular design. And in this little sachet here, you get every possible power cable you could need. It's a sleek design for a power supply unit. It's quite light too. So now we come to the case, also from Fractal Designs. I'll have a little sneak peek video of this later as well. But as you can see, plenty of space inside. There's a big fan on the rear too. Plenty of ventilation throughout this case. There are thumb screws holding the sides to the chassis, but they're a bit tight on first use, so a screwdriver may be required. But if we get both sides off, we'll get better access to the motherboard. So you can see the tiny motherboard will fit nicely in that square space there, and it will be properly ventilated as well. Perfect fit, pretty much. I'm going to seat it on these small gold screws. I'm not sure of the name of them, but you always get them with motherboards. I got a load with this Fractal Design case. It's just so that the motherboard doesn't come into direct contact with the case itself, just for static and interference reasons. This case comes with a nice little adapter as well to screw the gold screws into the case. It's just a case of popping it on and twisting. This is the adapter here. It's got a little screw socket on the back as well, so you can use a screwdriver. Very handy. Ta-da! Fits perfectly, as expected. I'm just making sure everything's tight and secure. So from the side you can see that everything is lined up nicely. So now we'll just pop in the power supply unit, which is also nicely ventilated at the bottom of the case. We'll just secure that to the rear. So here I've connected the power supply unit to the motherboard and plugged the cables back in, which connect the audio, USB and power switches to the front of the case. These are all pretty universal. Now if we slide out one of these hard drive slots and remove the hard drive from the X51's holder, then it's just a case of lining it up with the soft rubber washers and screwing it together. Now making sure these are as secure as possible will ensure the hard drive runs quietly. I suppose that's the reason Fractal went with like rubber washers as well, just to make sure the case is absolutely as quiet as possible. Smaller hard drives and solid state hard drives will also attach to these slots. Now just reconnect the satyr to the motherboard and connect the modular power supply to both hard drives, or as many hard drives as you're holding. There are quite a few screws holding the optical drive to the X51 case, but when you get those screws undone, it's just a case of sliding it out. The problem with this optical drive is that because it's slot loading, it's not uniform size, so it won't actually fit in the default 5.25 inch drive bay at the front of the case. So I'm leaving mine out of this configuration because I never use an optical drive anyway, but you may want to replace it with another one. If you do want to attach an optical drive, the top bay is actually free, but the second bay has that annoying metal protection thing, which is awkward to remove. So the X51's motherboard, along with a lot of micro ATX style boards, has an additional 12-pin power socket up in the corner there. Don't forget to connect this, otherwise your PC just won't boot. And the Fractal PSU did come with an adapter for this as well, which was great. Pretty much everything's connected now. Power going everywhere. It's time to seat the beast. The GTX 770 is my choice, but at this point you can pretty much fit whatever you want because you've got enough room there, you've got enough power in there, anything that the X51 can handle. There you go, marvel in its wonder. Again, be sure to secure it. These bigger cards take 2 screws. There you can see the 6-pin and the 8-pin power sockets. The Fractal design PSU has 2 4-pin power cables that kind of clip together to make one 8-pin cable, along with the 6-pin. Oh, it's a 6 and a 2, my bad. So you've got 2 6-pin connectors and a 2-pin that will adapt to the 6-pin to make it an 8-pin. And here she is, the new and improved Alienware X51 with additions from Fractal Design. Let's get the sides on now and boot her up. A lot of people don't secure their sides of the cases, but I highly recommend it, especially if you want to cut out on any remaining noise. It's all about vibrations, cutting out as many vibrations as possible. Which is why I went with the fractal design case. You can check out the roundup review video of it also on my channel. Good to go.